This week's quick tip is about how to be a facilitator and not a broker or a mailman, as you see in the picture. The objective today is to talk about how we're going to shift from passive to active leadership. PMs drive progress, clarity, and alignment, but so often they fall into this information relay mode where they're just passing information from one team to the other, or just generating a status, or just shooting off emails. And they really should be facilitating, driving momentum, taking action, as opposed to just being the mailman and the inbox traffic controller. So, if you think about today's environment, many projects move fast, they cross many teams, they're complex, they have a lot of moving parts, and communication is the top reason that there's delays and chaos and challenges. And our job is to create structure, not wait for it, not wait for somebody else to define it. That's our jobs. The teams need clarity and alignment to move forward, and our role is to bring that clarity and alignment. It doesn't mean we have to come up with the vision or the idea, but a lot of times we have to facilitate it, which is why I specifically used that word, because that's what ensures the progress. Brokering just creates bottlenecks. You're just passing something from one to the other, and you're not really adding value. So our role is to enable the delivery, not just observe it. And so let's do a comparison of the two. So the facilitator drives conversations and progress, whereas the broker just passes the message between the teams. The facilitator clarifies the decisions, whereas the broker just relays the updates. The facilitator anticipates blockers, whereas the broker just waits for others to raise the issues. The facilitator creates the structure as opposed to letting meetings drift. They ensure alignment and follow through as opposed to just leaving the teams to figure it out for themselves. The facilitator owns the momentum, drives things forward as opposed to becoming a bottleneck, and ultimately they build shared understanding as opposed to just creating a dependency. So hopefully this comparison gives you a sense of the difference between these two roles. And look, if you are going to be a broker, if you're going to be the mailman, here's the problem, right? Then we're just the bottleneck in the middle, passing one thing to the other. The team has no idea what they're working on. They're confused, they're frustrated. Decisions take longer because they're not being driven or facilitated. Meetings are unproductive. People show up and then they leave and they're not really sure what the value is. There's no clear accountability. And I think this is the biggest problem with our profession is that PMs are seen as administrative. We have too many people in this function. So I know a lot of senior leaders think that that's just our role, is just to be an admin, and it's really not. And then ultimately, delivery slows down. On the other hand, when we're facilitating meetings, when we're facilitating decisions and progress, decisions get made faster, there's clear ownership, there's better alignment, less rework, there's stronger trust in the PM, and it really builds our brand as those kinds of people who drive things to be done, and momentum happens, and therefore we meet our objectives. So, how to be a facilitator? There's lots of ways to do that, but it requires planning and effort and an investment in time beforehand. So before showing up to the meeting, make sure you have a clear agenda. During the meeting, ask clarifying questions in real time. Try to drive towards progress. If something is going off the rails, table it so that you stay focused. Summarize the decisions and next steps before you leave the meeting. Make sure there's clear owners and due dates. Push for alignment, not just updates, right? Bring the right people together. We're conveners. There's lots of different frameworks you can leverage, but essentially our job is to continue momentum and to keep the team moving. And so, look, here's our call to action. We have to lead the flow of work, not just observe it. We don't want to be mail people. We want to drive clarity, alignment, and progress, not just be brokers. We enable things to happen. We enable decisions. So make sure you're shifting from message relay to momentum driver. Be a facilitator. Don't be a broker.